Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson Football Channel for a brand new strand here on the channel. I'm going to call it, or it's called, 3 more points, which is something that we have said quite frequently this season with Chelsea. And the scope of where this is going to go is I intend it to become a GBFC Chelsea football related podcast over the course of the next few weeks. Next few months, I want to get guests onto the show. But today, what it basically is 6 things we learned is the reactionary series straight after a game. 3 more points is going to be delving in a bit more depth to 3 topics within the realms of either transfer news currently in terms of straight after a Chelsea game, or points that have been not quite touched upon enough or that I really want to delve into more to continue the conversation with you guys. And throughout the course of the series, there will be a lot of the times where I literally go through you guys' comments from a 6 Things We Learned video and fully include you in what is going on here on the channel and of course within the Chelsea community. Speaking of which, we've got some big news today with my sponsor, Ultimate Fan. Now, we have invitational leagues. You know how on Fantasy Premier League, you can have your league for your people. We now have ourselves a league. And the code to join the league is up on the screen now. I'm going to remind you, and it is NW5828. If you haven't yet downloaded the app, link is in the description. My team is still looking absolutely solid. I'm going to keep Mo Salah as my captain. But today, in the first episode of 3 More Points, we're going to discuss REECE James. Just how good is REECE James? I'm going to give my thoughts and opinions on that today, go through you guys' comments and much more. Hakim Ziyech is the second topic, and I came in for so much scrutiny, and we're going to talk about Ziyech today. And topic number 3 is transfer news, and we are going to talk about Fiorentina striker Vlahovic, the Serbian, who is currently wanted, I think, by virtually every single Premier League club. We are going to discuss all 3 of these points today. You see where we're going with this? 3 more points. Chelsea like to get 3 points. This could be a fun one. So if you're excited for this series in podcast format, which guests you want me to get on the show, let me know in the comments down below and hit the like button on today's video. And whilst you're at it, we've had a wonderful week for gaining subscribers this week. We've had nearly 700-800 new of you join since we beat Juventus, which is wonderful. Keep subscribing, keep turning on bell notifications, and I will keep reminding myself to turn off the sound on my phone and on my laptop so that you guys don't think you're being texted during a GBFC video. I don't want you being distracted now, do I? So then, we first of all begin with REECE boy James. REECE James, so far this season, 5 goals and 5 assists for Chelsea, which is, by anyone's standards, no matter what position you're playing in on the field, astronomical numbers at this moment in time. REECE James, over the course of the last couple of years, I remember going to matches, Chelsea games, doing match vlogs home and away, and Lawrence and I, who, if you don't know Lawrence Benson, then he's now got 1 million followers on TikTok, nearly 250,000 on YouTube in the last 8 months. The man's absolutely killing the game here in Indonesia. And we were speaking about the best Chelsea players, the best youngsters, when it was Frank Lampard's first season and we were going to all of these matches, and there was this massive buzz at Chelsea, having Lampard as the manager, having so many academy players break through. It was kind of heartwarming. Not kinda, it was very, very heartwarming for all of us Chelsea fans and everybody involved at the club. And I remember saying on numerous occasions, you know, Mason Mount might have hit the ground running the most, but REECE James just looked, in terms of the physical appearance of the man, like a footballer who was already 27, 28 years old by the physical build, the muscular nature of what REECE James was. When he broke through, there's only so many Wigan matches you can watch highlights of on YouTube where you're like, I think this guy is a bit of a talent, you know. There's only so many of those that you can see before you actually watch REECE James frequently in the flesh, until you actually realise just how big of a being he is. And in terms of the defensive work that REECE James had put in the early stages of his Chelsea career, I'm like, yeah, of course, this guy is 19, 20, now 21 years old, and of course, he's going to need to work on defensive positioning. He's going to need to work on making sure that he doesn't leave players goal side. He's got to make sure that that offside trap is catching strikers instead of being left by strikers round the back, causing Chelsea problems. I would go as far as to say that not only has REECE James become one of the most astute defenders that Chelsea have at the club, but he's now no longer recognised as a defender. He's lined up in Premier League apps, in Chelsea apps as a midfielder because he's on the right-hand side of what is an incredibly dominant wing-back formation that Thomas Tuchel has crafted since he joined Chelsea. And the contributions that we mentioned at the beginning of the point are absolutely insane. The numbers are absolutely gargantuan from Reece James, and the thing is, I don't see where it's going to stop. And I thought the same about Chilwell, and obviously in 6 Things We Learned, I spoke about Ben Chilwell. I talked about how in football, there are things that happen that even when you are in cloud 9, when you're absolutely at the pinnacle of your ecstasy, there are things that, well, snipers are going to be trying to shoot you down from down below. And Ben Chilwell's injury was one of those moments. We're going to talk about it briefly. It looks as though he won't be playing again for Chelsea in 2021. The early signs are that it's going to need a few more scans, probably today, for the course of the next few days, to see when realistically we can expect Benjamin Bloody Chilwell to be back in the Chelsea team. But both him and Reece have been the standouts. But when Reece scored that goal against Juventus on Tuesday night, it kind of not just reverberated around the Chelsea fan base in terms of this praise that everyone has, rightly so, for Reece James at this moment. It's not just Chelsea fans now. It is football fans in general saying, this guy might just be the best wing-back in the world. And then just because he's a defensive player, there's also some people that would jump the gun and say, well, he might be one of the best players in the world at this moment in time. And that's where I wanted this series to become a podcast, because today I couldn't get anybody on the show in time for me to release it before a massive game against United, but hopefully after United, I can get a guest on to discuss this with, because there are points like this that they have so many different angles in which you can approach it. There are some people that hate it when I, or a Chelsea YouTuber or anyone on Twitter, makes a very bold statement saying he could be one of the best in the world. He's got the potential to be the best in the world, saying it's pressure on these players. And I think, again, we're not trying to say to Reece, if you don't become the best, we're disappointed. That's our expectation of you. Anything less, then it's a big X from everybody. That is not how it goes. And I think that's how some people kind of interpret it to be. I wouldn't go as far as to say that to be one of the best in the world, you can just have a good first quarter, third of a season and then be regarded as one of the best in the world. But in terms of form, there isn't very many players in Europe right now that are A, contributing as many goals, B, showing such an elegantly, perfectly balanced game style that Reece James has right now at Chelsea. And I think the craziest thing about Reece James is the ceiling of this man is just stupendous. I think there is absolutely no reason why Reece James could not be deployed in virtually any position on the field. In terms of the way he strikes the ball with his right foot, I would go as far as to say that David Beckham had a wonderful right foot. And ever since Reece James broke into the Chelsea team, he's done nothing but show that his right foot might just be up there with somebody like David Beckham. The way he crosses the ball, the way he passes the ball, the way he shoots is just mind-blowing. And I wanted to make Reece James the first point of the video today, just in case some of you geezers went and turned the video off for a start. I just wanted to, you know, wax lyrical, as Janislav Ivanovic from Football Therapy would say, about the brilliance of Reece James. I'm sure there's a lot of you. I picked 24 comments to have a look through. I'm sure there's plenty of you that have gone in on the praise for Reece James too. But topic number 2 in 3 more points is Hakim Ziyech. I got rinsed in the comments, and I think in hindsight it was right that I got rinsed for it, to be honest. I kind of had this dominant feeling of just pride for Cobham, pride for the academy in the video against Juventus because of the 3 goals that won us the match before Werner scored the 4th. I just wanted to really highlight Cobham at the end of the video from an emotional sense, but I did watch the game very closely, and I did think Hakim Ziyech was very good, and you guys are absolutely right. He 100% deserved to have a box, maybe even over Jorginho, and certainly in the grander scheme of like the 6 main points of the game, best players of the game, he probably deserved a box over the Cobham box that I gave. So you lot are right on this one. I'm not going to try and defend it anymore. That is the Hakim Ziyech that I'm always asking for. That is the Hakim Ziyech that I want to see 80% of the time. Because that Hakim Ziyech would have me here purring like a cat. My cat's run off at the moment. He's in season. He's looking for women. And, you know, I'd have the cat on my lap on my shoulder and I'd pretend he's Hakim Ziyech and I'd be giving him a little stroke. You know what I'm saying? He was phenomenal. The work rate, he covered more ground than any other Chelsea player on the pitch in this game against Juventus. And I just want to see it more. And if I keep seeing that, and I think that performance that he put in against Juventus should, based off of what we know of Thomas Tuchel and how he likes to pick his teams, it should get him a start as long as he's fit and ready for it against Manchester United on Sunday. I think he was excellent. I think it's that kind of movement in and around the final third where a lot of the times he does this nice bit of trickery and then the final ball is either a little bit too high or a little bit too far in front of the player, which again is testament to the brain of Hakim Ziyech when he's always looking to get Chelsea on the front foot. He plays the passes ahead of a Callum Hudson-Odoi, of a Christian Pulisic, in order for them to get as close to the byline as possible, because the further up the field you go, the more likely you are to score a goal. And I totally see that in Hakim Ziyech's game. Far too often in the past, not talking about Juventus, I saw it just go out for a throw-in or a goal kick. So I think when Chelsea are on song, the way that we were on Tuesday night, where we were going for it, we were running at Juventus, we smelt blood, in the words of Tony Rudiger from Porto Uncovered, that is where Hakim Ziyech is at his best, when everybody else around him is on the same frequency. And Hakim Ziyech's footballing brain is probably right up there above even a lot of these quality Chelsea players that we have in this team right now. And just because I might not praise him very often, or I didn't praise him in that 6 Things We Learnt video, it doesn't mean that I don't believe that. Just need to see it more. And on Tuesday night, Hakim Ziyech was fantastic. And I think we can say all we want about potential players leaving the club, be it in January, maybe it's shop window time for Ziyech. A lot of people have said, I've said that unless his performances improve, he'll certainly be moved on at Chelsea because there's too many players competing for that position. He's in the prime of his career. He doesn't want to be sat on the bench at Stamford Bridge. It's as simple as that. He wants to be playing every single week. But if he plays like he did against Juventus, then he plays himself not only into frequent games, but 100% starting for Chelsea and being a key player. The assist was brilliant on Tuesday night, and I just hope against United he gets given that chance again. In my match preview tomorrow, you're going to see that Hakim Ziyech starts. That is the first little teaser I'll give you for a massive Premier League preview here on GBFC. Hakim Ziyech contributed again on Tuesday night. You guys are right. I should have given him a little bit more airtime. Now, we're going to go into your comments. We're going to do this a bit differently. We're going to finish with the transfer talk regarding Dusan Vlahovic at the end of 3 more points. If you are enjoying it, be sure to hit the like button. And we begin with a comment from Bwalia Chilufia. Again, pronunciation, never my forte, but we're going to work with it. Thiago Silva's defending is mind-blowing. Ellipsis James is a striker disguised as a wing-back. We have said this one already today. Reece James could play in absolutely any position. Thiago Silva, 37 years old, without question, the best centre-back in the world above the age of 35. And to even strip that back, he's got to be right now in the conversation as arguably the informed centre-back in world football. At least, I'll let you guys argue in the comments down below. Right now, at this moment in time, do you believe that Thiago Silva is the best centre-back in the world? We move into a comment from good old Jay Spencer. Reece James is nuts. I'm inclined to agree with you, pal. He's so good. Look at the technique. The first touch is sublime and the finishing is unreal. Just to caveat that, I actually do think that there isn't a player in the world right now that can chest and control the ball, no matter what pace it comes at, better than Reece James. I think he's sensational. No players can get near him. Just watch him. He knocks it past people or knocks people over. I remember against Leicester last week, he bodied Soyuncu. He's one of the biggest defenders in the Premier League in terms of his size, his strength. He outmuscles everybody. And I think you're right, Jay. I think Reece James has got that ability to be not only a big unit of a player like Adama Traore kind of, but Traore's obviously like, I'm not even going to flex it because I can't. I've been in the gym recently. I actually did my heaviest ever deadlift today, which, you know, if you wanted to know, now you know. Reece James has got that kind of build. And I think the way that he's balanced his game to not only be that physical brute that can knock people over, but to have that elegance of touch, to be able to bring the ball down, to be able to strike it, to be able to cross it, to be able to know when to play a little intricate short pass. Reece James has absolutely got it all. We move into Matteo Garrett, who is, of course, bringing up the Trent versus Reece debate. Anyone try to say Trent is better than James? Finally, we all know who's the best right back in the world right now. Keywords there are right now. I think that discussion is another one where it's kind of at this moment in time in the same kind of psychological meaning bracket as a Ronaldo versus Messi. We can argue all day long about who's the better one, but at the same time, praise certainly needs to be given to both parties, and right now they are both at the very, very top. Trent is playing incredibly well, defending better too, But I just think Reece, with my Chelsea blue tinted glasses, has just got the fuller package. We move into Jaden J. Great win today for Chelsea. Hakim Ziyech and Callum Hudson-Odoi sublime. Reece James, best right back in the world right now. Thiago Silva, amazing at the back. The great thing with this Chelsea team, and again it kind of comes back to the Hakim Ziyech point that I made earlier, there are so many players that deserve praise right now. Game on game, there are so many different players outperforming either A, expectations, or B, what we've seen before. And the fact that that is happening as a conglomerate, as a team, is even better. It's why Chelsea have scored 3+ goals 9 times already this season, which is just an astronomical number for this stage of the campaign. Isaac Mashifane says, it looks like we're finally going to experience the best of Ziyech. Again, I say the same things. It seems negative, I know. If we keep seeing what we saw against Juventus, you are absolutely right. But, again, you're only as good as your last game. I'm not going to say what I just said anymore in this video today. It was fantastic from Hakim Ziyech on Tuesday night against Juventus. Now, let's have a look, see what else we've got going on here. We've got Itchy Feet. What a fantastic YouTube name that is. Silva save was the moment of the match. You're absolutely right here, because if that goes in, it becomes 1-1. If it becomes 1-1, Juventus, they're buoyed. Their fans, even though there weren't many of them, they're buoyed. There becomes a difference in the energy around Stamford Bridge. It's no longer that feeling of control. It's a bit of nerves. You know, not that we're nervous that we're not going to go through, but I think every Chelsea fan went to Stamford Bridge thinking, we got to win this game to A, keep up momentum, B, secure qualification, and C, we want to finish top of the group. There's a lot at stake. And if that would have gone in, then it could have been a different story. Now, Mohamed Nassiri has show how to box. Hakim deserves one also. Good performance, back-to-back games. Yes, Mr. Mohamed, fully agree with you there. Sam Shepherd, Reece James has been immense recently. Scary to think how young he still is. Huge future as a Blue. Absolutely agree. I think Reece James is also, to change the topic slightly, got captain material in him. The way that he celebrates, the way he's so passionate in front of the Chelsea fans, involves everybody, always involved with everyone else too, and he's becoming a natural leader on the field. And a lot of that certainly comes down to playing with Thiago Silva alongside him. Yes, he's got Trevor sandwiched between him and Thiago Silva, but Reece James, with the contributions he's making to the team, he's naturally having a leader's role because he's winning things for Chelsea. But I think his presence and the way that he is commandeering himself on the field right now is certainly, in my eyes, leading towards a potential future as Chelsea captain. That is another conversation for the comments. Let me know, is it going to be Mason Mount? Is it going to be another centre-back? Or is it going to be Reece James? At the moment, I'd be inclined to say that it may well be Reece Boy James. Now, we're going to move into talk about Dusan Vlahovic to finish 3 more points today. Now, Dusan Vlahovic is a Serbian striker currently playing his football in Fiorentina. He's 21 years of age, and I find it very interesting that Chelsea are one of the clubs touted to be interested in signing Vlahovic. In this list that we've got up on the screen, you got Man City, that one's obvious, they don't have a striker. You got Liverpool, you got questions there about Salah contract, Sadio Mane new contract, Firmino. They've had the same front three for 5 years. Maybe it's time for a change. You got Chelsea, Tottenham, Arsenal, Everton, and of course, Newcastle United. A lot, if not all right there, of the biggest clubs with financial muscle in the Premier League being interested in Dusan Vlahovic. Now then, 70 million euros was the reported fee that Fiorentina were asking for Dusan Vlahovic. Now, the whole point of me doing 3 more points, if I don't have a guest, it's to get you lot talking in the comments. If I do, we can discuss it until the camera battery runs out. It could be 40 minutes, could be an hour. It depends. It's all about the conversation. We don't want to cut anything short, but I do think that right now in the comments, I really want to hear from you guys. Do you think that Chelsea need to go out in the next summer and actually spend big money again, 70 million. It's not quite the record that we broke to sign Lukaku. But do you think we need to actually spend that much on a striker like Vlahovic whilst Lukaku is still at the club? Yes, Lukaku made a great start to the season, petered out a little bit, then got injured. So at the moment, we can't really say that Lukaku has been hitting the ground running. We can't say it's been a failure. And I can say that I still think Lukaku's going to bag a lot of goals for Chelsea Football Club. Do we need another striker who is a deadly goal scorer at the club? Timo Werner scored the 4th Chelsea goal against Juventus this week, and I still back Timo Werner to come good, contribute, whether that is out on the wing, going through the middle, as a backup to Lukaku. Do you think that a player like Dusan Vlahovic would A, want to come to Chelsea when there is that much competition, when he could just go to virtually all of those other clubs that we mentioned, City, Liverpool even, and probably get straight into the starting 11? Would Chelsea be his favourable option? And do we need him? I want to finish that today with you guys in the comments down below. Let me know. Dusan Vlahovic to Chelsea. We've been linked. It's been reported by 90 Min. Let me know in the comments down below what you think. Thank you guys so much for watching this first episode today. The idea is to kind of elongate the conversation, not just when Chelsea win and we get 3 more points, but after every game, really. And I want to be getting guests in, so let me know in the comments. Again, lots of things to comment today. I want to get you guys involved as much as I can. Who should I get on the show for episode 2 after the Manchester United game? Preview is going to be out tomorrow. As I said at the beginning of the video, make sure you go and join my Invitational League on Ultimate Fan. Link to download the app is in the description. It's free. You can also upgrade it to silver or gold pack subscriptions to get better players, to get a more chance, to get more points, to win more. Chelsea players right now that are absolutely crushing it. Reece James at the top, Ben Chilwell's there. Havertz is pretty high too, Mason Mount as well. But obviously with Chelsea winning week on week, any Chelsea players you get right now in packs are going to be doing you a lot of favours in the points in the quest to win a share of £5,000 every single week. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe if you are new. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the first minute of 3 more points. And I'll see you guys later. Come on, you Blues.